I moved through the rain-slicked streets like a ghost, the neon glow slicing through the mist and catching on the shards of broken glass beneath my boots. The city never slept, its electric heart pulsing all around me in a chaotic rhythm of blinking lights and distant sirens. Somewhere in this labyrinth of steel and addiction, my brother had vanished. No calls, no messages, just an absence carved into the digital noise. My enhanced eyes flicked upwards, scanning the flickering signs in shades of violet and toxic green. Advertisements for memory implants and virtual escapes danced before me. A cruel mockery of the fragmentary memories I clung to, memories of us before the disappearance. I wrapped my coat tighter, its neon trim glowing faintly against the damp night. The chill that settled in my bones wasn't just from the weather. It was the cold certainty that he was out there, lost in a way I couldn't yet understand. Rumors had started to surface, whispered in encrypted forums and crackling over static-filled channels, about a black market where memories were bought and sold like commodities. I had scoffed at the idea once, but desperation is a powerful lens, warping disbelief into possibility. My first tangible lead came from a data packet intercepted in a grimy back alley, a fragment of forbidden code that shimmered faintly in the air. Downloading it felt like stepping off a ledge into unknown depths. The file hinted at auctions where stolen memories were peddled as immersive entertainment, a grotesque carnival of lost identities. I tried to shake the weight of the revelation, but the city's neon veins seemed to pulse in time with the urgency growing inside me. On a rooftop above the chaos, I let the electric hum wash over me, staring out at the city that swallowed souls whole. My brother's face flickered in my mind, a ghost in the data stream, and I vowed to find him, no matter the cost. Back in my cramped apartment, walls cracked and stained with the residue of forgotten dreams, I flicked on my workstation. The holographic keyboard sprang to life beneath my fingers, casting a blue glow against the peeling paint. Each keystroke was decisive, a step into the shadows where few dared to tread. I was no stranger to hacking, it was survival, a language I had learned through loss and necessity. But this was different. This was personal. The city outside buzzed with unending life, oblivious to the storm gathering beneath its surface. Somewhere in those neon-lit depths, the truth waited, and I was ready to dive in. The hum of the data streams thrummed louder as I connected to the underworld networks, a digital heartbeat matching my own. The trail was faint, fragmented, just like the memories I sought, but it was there, and I wouldn't stop until I found every last piece. Rin, I whispered to the empty room, the name a shield against the creeping doubt. I'm coming for you, brother. Outside, the neon ghosts flickered and danced, shadows of what was lost and what might yet be reclaimed. The hunt had begun. The city never truly slept. Even as the neon signs flickered erratically in the rain-streaked windows of cramped apartments and the distant hum of hovercars faded into the early morning mist, the digital undercurrent pulsed with life beneath the surface. In the heart of this sprawling labyrinth, I sat alone, surrounded by the glow of countless screens and the soft whir of my cybernetic implants, hunting for a ghost. My brother. For years, his absence had been a void I couldn't fill. The cold case files, the unanswered calls, the silence that stretched between us like an unbreakable firewall. But now, a whisper of hope had found its way to me. Rumors of a black market where memories were traded, stolen, sold, and consumed like cheap entertainment had reached my ears. If my brother was out there somewhere, trapped in fragments of data, then I had to find him. I adjusted the interface on my wrist console, fingers moving with practiced ease over the holographic keyboard. The neon glow from the city's heart spilled through my window, casting elongated shadows that danced across the cluttered surfaces of my apartment. The air was thick with the scent of ozone and burnt circuits, a scent that had become strangely comforting over the years. Diving into the city's chaotic data streams was like swimming through a sea of fractured memories and discarded lives. Most of the chatter was noise, petty thefts, gang turf wars, corporate espionage. But beneath it all, I could sense a pattern, a faint pulse of encrypted transmissions that hummed just beyond the reach of casual scanners. Tracking them down was painstaking work. Each data packet was layered with recursive encryptions designed to hide their origins and destinations. But my cybernetic enhancements, ocular implants that processed visual data at speeds no human eye could match, neural processors that accelerated my thought patterns, gave me an edge. Hours slipped by. The city outside shifted through the cycles of neon-lit night into the gray wash of dawn. Then, like a ghost surfacing from the depths, I caught it, a flicker of familiar code embedded within a stream of illicit memory packets. I followed the digital trail to a shadowed alley not far from where I grew up. A street vendor, hunched beneath a tarpaulin, was broadcasting encrypted transmissions through a battered terminal. The neon-dyed edges of his clothing reflected the flickering streetlights, casting his face in ghostly hues. I slid a data spike from my jacket pocket and connected it to the vendor's transmitter, siphoning off fragments of the data stream. The hum of the city faded around me as I decrypted the signal. What I saw made my breath catch, blurry images of a face I knew all too well, my brother's. Laughter caught between pixels, the curve of a smile frozen in time. The fragments were broken, incomplete, but unmistakable. Memories of a street corner bathed in amber light, a distant sunset that I'd seen with him once, a voice echoing in my mind. But they were also tainted, corrupted by layers of manipulation, altered for entertainment's sake. I leaned back against the cold brick wall, the weight of it pressing down on my chest. The city's neon veins pulsed around me, indifferent to the shards of a life being auctioned in the shadows. Back in my apartment, I spread the fragments across my hollow display, fingers tracing the lines and colors of a past that was no longer whole. My cybernetic eyes flickered with a soft blue light as I ran algorithms to reconstruct the missing pieces. Each recovered memory was a thread, fragile and tenuous, stitching together a tapestry of loss and hope. But with each revelation came a deeper question: who was my brother now, stripped of his memories? And what did that mean for me? The city outside brightened with the first light of day, neon signs dimming to shadows. But inside, my resolve burned brighter than ever. I would find him. I would piece him back together, no matter the cost. The hunt was just beginning, and the fragments of the past were my only guide. As the data streams flowed endlessly around me, I prepared to dive deeper into the labyrinth of stolen memories and neon ghosts. The city was alive with secrets, and I was ready to unearth them all. But the deeper I went, the clearer it became. In this city, memories were more than just echoes. They were currency, identity, and the battleground where the war for self was being fought. And I was caught in its center, chasing a ghost through the fragments of a fractured world. Night deepened again as I scanned through endless data shards, each one a whispered secret in the neon-lit darkness. My fingers danced over the hollow keys, decrypting, parsing, piecing together the broken mosaic of stolen consciousness. Somewhere in this tangled web was the truth about my brother and the price of forgetting. The city's pulse beat around me, a symphony of electric dreams and digital despair. And I was its hunter, chasing the flickering shadows of a past that refused to die. The hunt continued. The rain had just stopped when I slipped into the labyrinthine alley that led to the memory bazaar. Neon signs buzzed overhead, their fractured light bouncing off puddles that mirrored the fractured city skyline. The air was thick with the scent of ozone and burnt circuits, a metallic tang that made my skin crawl. Every step I took echoed softly, swallowed nearly whole by the murmurs and distant digital static that seeped from the hidden doorways. The bazaar wasn't on any map. It existed only in whispers and encrypted chatter, a ghost in the city's sprawling network. The door I found was unassuming, a rusted metal slab with a flickering keypad glowing faintly in the dim light. My fingers danced over the worn keys, inputting the sequence Echo had hacked for me. The lock hissed open, revealing a narrow stairwell spiraling down into the depths beneath the neon sprawl. I drew a breath, steel in my chest, and descended. The basement was a cavernous expanse, illuminated by the pulsing glow of neon tubes and holographic projectors. The air was electric, charged with anticipation and the low hum of countless servers humming in the shadows. Figures cloaked in black and neon gathered around stalls and makeshift stages, their faces obscured by digital visors and masks that shimmered with streaming data. The bazaar was a circus of the mind, a grotesque marketplace where memories were stripped from their owners and sold like cheap trinkets. I moved through the crowd, senses sharpened. The walls were lined with translucent screens displaying snippets of lives, not their own, childhood joys, forbidden romances, moments of terror. The audience pumped neural stimulants, their pupils dilated, faces awash in the glow of stolen experiences. It was mesmerizing and horrifying all at once. At the center of this chaos stood Tess, the auctioneer, a woman whose aura commanded attention. Her voice was smooth, slicing through the din with practiced ease as she presented memory fragments for bidding. Each sale was a transaction stripped of empathy, the human stories behind them reduced to data packets for entertainment or escapism. I edged closer, scanning the holograms. My heart stuttered when a flicker caught my eye, a fleeting image of a sunlit park bench, the faint outline of a familiar smile. My breath hitched. The laugh that followed was unmistakable. My brother's. The realization crashed over me like a wave. Here were pieces of him, fractured and scattered, being dissected and sold without consent. A cold knot formed in my stomach. The bazaar was worse than I imagined. This was no mere black market. It was a mausoleum of lost selves, where identity was bought and sold under the flickering neon shadows. I couldn't turn away. I had to find a way to reclaim what was stolen, no matter the cost. As the auction progressed, I kept my head down, blending into the crowd while plotting my next move. The danger was palpable. One misstep and I'd be exposed, swallowed whole by the syndicate's mercenaries. But the sight of my brother's memories, fragmented and commodified, steeled my resolve. The bazaar's cacophony faded into the background as I retreated into the night, the neon glow painting my silhouette against the rain-slick streets. The fight was just beginning, and somewhere in the depths of this city of ghosts, my brother's story was waiting to be reclaimed. I clenched my fists, neon light flickering off my cybernetic implants. No one would forget him. Not on my watch. The rain came down in sheets, washing the neon-lit streets in a blur of color and light that smeared into a haze of electric blue and acid pink. I stood in the back alley, boots splashing in shallow puddles, my breath misting in the cold air. The city never slept, and tonight it whispered secrets loud enough for those who dared listen. I was hunting ghosts, memories stolen and sold like cheap trinkets, and the trail had led me here, to a shadowed corner where the digital underworld flickered alive. A figure emerged from the gloom, short and wiry, with hair dyed a furious neon green that seemed to pulse with the rhythm of the city itself. A digital visor glowed softly over her eyes, casting shifting patterns on her angular face. "You must be Rin," she said, voice sharp but laced with a sly grin. "Echo." I studied her carefully. In this world of data theft and fractured identities, trust was a currency far rarer than credits. "What do you want?" I asked, my voice steady but my heart quickening. "To survive," Echo replied, stepping closer, the digital visor reflecting the neon chaos around us. "And maybe help you find what you're looking for." The city hummed around us, a symphony of distant sirens, the murmur of crowds, and the incessant buzz of data streams flowing through the veins of this concrete labyrinth. Echo led me through a narrow door into a cramped room crammed with humming servers, tangled cables, and flickering holographic displays. The air smelled of hot circuits and stale coffee. She gestured to a floating interface, hands moving with practiced ease as fragments of memory data danced before us. "This is the black market's currency," she said, eyes gleaming behind the visor. "Memories ripped from lives, packaged and sold to the highest bidder. Your brother's traces are here, shards, but enough to follow." My fingers twitched, itching to dive in, to piece together the scattered echoes of a life stolen from me. But the deeper I waded, the more I felt the shadows closing in, corporate mercenaries, rival hackers, the ever-watchful eye of Dr. Kale Voss's syndicate. Suddenly, an alarm blared, a sharp digital intrusion attempt aimed at our location. Echo's fingers flew across her console, launching countermeasures with a grin that masked the tension. "They don't like visitors," she said dryly. "But neither do I." The rush of adrenaline bound us in a fragile camaraderie, a fleeting connection in a world built on deception. In the flickering neon shadows of that cramped den, I glimpsed a sliver of hope, a partner in the hunt, a voice in the static. Yet beneath the glimmer, the question gnawed. Could I trust her, or was I stepping deeper into a trap woven from lies and half-truths? The night was young, and the memory trade was a beast that fed on the vulnerable. But for now, I had an ally, and that was enough to keep moving forward. The city's neon veins pulsed outside the walls, and with Echo at my side, I was ready to dive deeper into the labyrinth. "Let's see what ghosts we can find," Echo said, a flicker of a smile breaking through her usual cynicism. I nodded, heart tight but eyes sharp. The hunt had just begun. Night deepened, and the glow of the city felt heavier, more suffocating. Echo's den was a sanctuary of buzzing electronics and whispered secrets, a stark contrast to the chaos outside. Around us, holographic screens floated midair, flickering with images of faces I barely recognized, snippets of memories from the black market's dark ledger. Echo leaned back, removing her visor momentarily to reveal eyes sharp and calculating. "You're obsessing," she teased, watching me pore over a particularly fragmented memory. "You can't stitch together a whole life from broken pieces." But I couldn't stop. Each shard was a thread pulling me closer to the truth and to him. "I have to try," I whispered. "He's out there somewhere." She gave me a long look, then nodded slowly. "All right, Rin, I'm in, but this isn't just about your brother. This market is a beast, feeding on every lost soul in this city." Together, we began mapping the network: data thieves, memory brokers, shadowy auctioneers. Echo's insider knowledge was invaluable, her wit cutting through the complexity like a laser. Yet beneath her sharp humor, I sensed scars, betrayals that had shaped her into the wary, fiercely loyal hacker she was. Days blurred into nights as we chased leads through the neon-lit maze. The city's pulse was relentless, a cacophony of distant pulses, synthetic beats, and the low hum of data streams. Every corner held danger, every contact a potential enemy. Still, we pushed forward, piecing together the fragmented puzzle. There were moments when the weight of it all pressed down, when doubt whispered that this fight was bigger than either of us. But then Echo's laughter would cut through the dark, a reminder that even in the shadows, humanity flickered. "You ever think about walking away?" I asked one night, staring out at the rain-slick streets. "Every damn day," she admitted. "But someone's got to fight back." Her words settled in me, a fragile ember of determination. I wasn't just fighting for my brother anymore. I was fighting for all the forgotten ghosts lost in the data streams. As the neon lights flickered outside, I felt the first stirrings of trust, a dangerous, necessary thing. Echo was my ally now, a beacon in the fractured cityscape. But the deeper we delved, the darker the shadows grew. And I knew our alliance would be tested. The hunt was far from over. Suddenly, the door to the den hissed open and slammed against the wall. Echo's visor flashed red warnings, and her fingers danced frantically across the console. "They found us," she hissed, voice tight. I grabbed my gear as the room's lights dimmed and emergency protocols kicked in. Outside, the city's neon glow felt distant, muffled by the thick steel walls around us. "We're not going down without a fight," Echo said, eyes blazing behind the visor. The next minutes were a blur, digital battles waged in cyberspace, the crackle of encrypted transmissions, the pounding of our hearts in the silence between attacks. When the assault finally subsided, we were battered but standing. The close call sealed our bond, not just as partners, but as survivors in a ruthless game. "This is just the beginning," I said, voice low. Echo nodded, the faintest smile breaking through. "Neon ghosts don't disappear that easily." Together, we turned back to the glowing screens, ready to chase the next fragment of a stolen past. The room was steeped in the muted glow of neon light filtering through cracked blinds, casting fractured patterns across the cluttered surfaces. Rin sat cross-legged on the cold floor, a hollow table suspended between her and Echo, its surface alive with swirling data fragments. Outside, the city's relentless pulse throbbed in waves of electric blue and pink, a constant reminder of the world she fought to penetrate. Echo tapped a sequence into the console, her fingers adorned with chipped black nail polish that caught the light with every movement. "Got a lead," she muttered, voice low and dry as a desert wind. "These fragments are more than just memories, they're breadcrumbs leading us right to the heart of the Syndicate." Rin's eyes, augmented with subtle cybernetic implants, scanned the projections. Flickering images of faces, places, and moments danced in fractured loops, some too distorted to recognize, others painfully clear. Among them, a flash of a pale, sharp-featured man with glowing blue ocular augmentations sent a jolt through her chest. "Dr. Kale Voss," she whispered, the name tasting like ash on her tongue. "He's not just some shadow in the background, he's pulling the strings." Echo smirked, the edge of cynicism in her voice cutting through the tension. "Told you the big fish don't swim alone." Rin leaned closer, her fingers deftly manipulating the holographic interface. Each fragment decrypted revealed more about her brother's stolen consciousness, moments of laughter, flashes of fear, and then silence, the digital specter of a life stolen, repurposed for entertainment in the city's darkest corners. The air between them was thick with unspoken fears. Echo's usual quips were absent, replaced by a rare seriousness. "We're not just poking a hornet's nest here," she warned. "Voss's security is tight, and they don't take kindly to trespassers." Rin's jaw tightened. The memory fragments were fragile, scrambled with layers of encryption designed to erase the past like smoke in the wind. Yet the traces were enough to ignite a fire she couldn't extinguish. Hours slipped by as they worked in tandem, Echo's street-hardened instincts guiding their navigation through the labyrinthine data streams, and Rin's technical prowess dismantling the digital defenses. The neon glow outside dimmed as the city shifted into the graveyard hours, but inside the room, time seemed suspended, tethered only to the relentless pursuit of truth. Suddenly, the hollow table flickered violently. An alarm blared softly from their comms, an intrusion detected. Mercenary hackers, sentinels of the Syndicate's digital fortress, were converging on their location. "We've been made," Echo hissed, eyes darting to the door. "Time to move." Rin grabbed the data core containing the decrypted fragments, her mind racing to piece together the next move. The revelation of Dr. Voss's direct involvement was a breakthrough, but it was also a beacon painting a target on their backs. As they slipped out into the rain-slicked streets, the city's neon veins pulsed around them, a glowing maze filled with danger and deceit. The fight was no longer just for her brother's memories, it was for the very essence of identity, a battle waged in shadows and light, code and flesh. In the dim glow of a nearby alley, Rin paused to catch her breath, the fragmented voice of her brother whispering faintly in her mind, a haunting echo that fueled her resolve. The stakes had never been higher, and the path ahead was shrouded in darkness, but she was no longer alone. "We'll tear their world apart," she vowed quietly, eyes reflecting the neon glow, "piece by piece." And with that promise, she stepped back into the neon-lit labyrinth, ready to face whatever ghosts the data streams would throw at her. The rain had tapered off hours ago, but the city still glistened wet, neon puddles pooling beneath the buzz of streetlights and holograms, projecting advertisements into the thick night air. I stood in the shadows of an alleyway, fingers twitching as I adjusted the interface port embedded in my wrist. The soft glow of my cybernetic eyes synced with the flickering signs overhead, blues, pinks, and acidic greens bleeding into one another like a living watercolor of the city's soul. This was my domain now, the neon veins pulsing beneath the concrete and steel. I crouched low, pulling a translucent data jack from a hidden panel beneath a rusted conduit. This was the lifeline of the Memory Syndicate's network, a backdoor they never expected someone like me to find. My fingers brushed the cold metal as I connected the jack to my neural implant. A faint hum surged through my spine, an electric whisper of data flowing directly into my brain. The city's heartbeat became mine. The digital world exploded into view behind my eyelids, a sprawling labyrinth of glowing grids, shifting firewalls, and encrypted pathways glowing with an eerie, pulsating light. My cybernetic eyes flickered, scanning streams of code cascading like waterfalls of light. Here, in this virtual maze, memories were currency, bought and sold as easily as breath. And somewhere in this tangled web were the fragments of him, my brother. Echo's voice crackled softly in my ear, a familiar anchor in the disorienting flood of data. "Watch your six, Rin. These bastards don't just encrypt. They hunt," I nodded, though he couldn't see it. The mercenary hackers were ghosts in this space, aggressive, relentless, their avatars sharp-edged and flickering with static. They moved like predators, launching cyberattacks that jolted my neural implants, sending sharp stabs of pain that blurred the edges of my vision. My grip on the interface tightened, and my mind dove deeper, searching for a vulnerability. They came at me fast, a wave of digital fire and ice, scrambling my sensory input and distorting my perception. My breathing grew shallow as I ducked and weaved through the barrage. Every jolt a reminder that these fights weren't just virtual. They left marks on the mind and flesh alike. "Got a backdoor here," Echo murmured, his voice a steady pulse in the chaos. "But you've got to move now." I exploited the hidden gateway, a narrow slipstream of corrupted code that bypassed the main firewall. The neon grids shifted as I slipped through, heart pounding in synchronization with the city's distant hum. Outside, the rain had started again, droplets tapping against the cracked glass of a nearby skyscraper like a metronome. Sweat beaded at my temple. I blinked rapidly to reset my vision, the city's neon glow bleeding through my eyelids like a ghostly tattoo. The data I'd accessed was raw and fragmented, pieces of plans, encrypted manifests, and encrypted files hinting at the scale of Dr. Voss's operation. But it was enough to know I'd struck a nerve. "Status?" Echo's voice was sharp, laced with tension, inside and pulling data, but they'll be onto me in seconds. I disconnected, the neural jack snapping free with a soft pop. Pain radiated through my arm where the interface had latched on, but the rush of adrenaline numbed the ache. I slid into the shadows, heart still racing, knowing this was only the beginning. If I wanted to find him, to reclaim those stolen memories, I'd have to dive deeper into this neon-lit abyss. And the Syndicate wouldn't make it easy. The city's pulse hammered in my ears, a relentless beat beneath the flickering neon shadows. Somewhere out there, in the tangled web of stolen consciousness, my brother waited, and I was coming for him. But as the neon veins of the city glowed brighter against the night, I couldn't shake the feeling that with every secret I uncovered, I was losing a piece of myself. The line between hunter and hunted blurred, and in this digital jungle, identity was the most fragile thing of all. The hunt was on, and there was no turning back. The city's neon glow barely penetrated the narrow stairwell leading down to Myra's clinic, a hidden sanctuary beneath the crumbling facades of the old industrial district. The hum of distant hovercars and the faint drip of leaking pipes above contrasted sharply with the quiet urgency that pressed against the thick steel door as I pushed it open. Inside, the air was cooler, tainted with the sterile scent of antiseptic and the low buzz of neural repair machines. Flickering hollow interfaces blinked softly against the shadowed walls, casting faint pools of light on faces both worn and hopeful. Myra herself sat behind a cluttered console, her soft features partially obscured by a loose hood that muted the harsh neon outside. She looked up as I entered, her eyes steady but kind. "You must be Rin," she said, voice calm, almost maternal. "Echo said you'd come." I nodded, the weight of exhaustion pressing down harder now that I was here. "I need your help." Her clinic was a patchwork of salvaged tech and makeshift comfort. Patients reclined in worn chairs, some hooked to intricate neural interfaces, their expressions a mix of pain and relief. Myra moved among them with practiced ease, her hands gentle as she adjusted implants or administered neural balms designed to soothe scrambled synapses. One young woman caught my attention, a trembling figure with pale skin and flickering ocular implants that sputtered erratically. Myra knelt beside her, whispering soothing words as she delicately patched a neural socket. The woman's breathing slowed, eyes flickering open with a fragile clarity. "Memory theft leaves wounds you can't see," Myra explained quietly when I joined her. "The damage isn't just in data, it's in the soul. Rebuilding isn't just about tech, it's trust, patience, and hope." I listened, the truth of her words slicing through my guarded exterior. For so long, I'd buried my emotions beneath layers of code and cold calculation. But here, surrounded by those fighting to reclaim fragments of themselves, the stakes felt painfully real. We turned to the memory fragments I'd stolen during the last raid. As Myra projected the data streams into the hollow display between us, I saw the jagged edges and missing segments, like torn pages from a book rewritten by someone else. "Some parts have been overwritten, erased deliberately," she murmured, tracing the gaps with a finger. "It's not just theft, it's obliteration." The weight of it hit me harder than any firewall breach. My brother's consciousness wasn't just scattered, it was mutilated. The man I remembered, the brother I loved, was slipping away into digital oblivion. Myra's own story emerged in fragments as the evening wore on. She spoke of a raid, her clinic attacked, her own memories tampered with. The soft glow of neon filtering through cracks in the walls cast long shadows as she revealed scars beneath her skin, both physical and mental. "That's why I fight," she said simply, "because there's still something worth saving." Our conversation stretched into the night, weaving threads of pain and resilience. For the first time in months, I allowed myself to hope, not just for my brother, but for a future where stolen memories could be healed rather than exploited. But as the clinic's lights flickered with a sudden power surge, the fragile calm shattered. The shadows deepened, reminding me that beneath this fragile light lay darker forces still watching, still hunting. I left Myra's sanctuary with a new resolve burning beneath my skin. The path ahead was uncertain and fraught with danger, but now, armed with compassion and clarity, I was ready to fight, not just for my brother's memories, but for the fractured souls trapped in this neon-lit nightmare. The battle for identity was far from over, but in this dimly lit clinic, amidst the hum of healing machines, I glimpsed a spark of something worth believing in. And I would carry that light into the darkness, no matter the cost. The city's neon shadows awaited, and so did my next move. The neon haze of the city's underbelly wrapped around us like a suffocating shroud, colors bleeding from every flickering sign and hollow advertisement. I could almost taste the electric tang in the humid air, a mixture of ozone and synthetic sweat. The backroom was barely more than a cage of rusted metal and cracked plexiglass, lit only by the erratic pulse of neon from outside and the faint glow of Echo's digital visor. "You've been hiding something," I said, voice low, cautious, yet edged with accusation. My fingers hovered over the holographic interface projecting fragmented data streams, but my attention was fixed on Echo. The neon light caught the angles of his face, throwing his features into stark relief. The sharp line of his jaw, the tightness around his eyes, the quick dart of his gaze beneath that ever-present visor. He shifted uneasily, the visor lifting slowly to reveal eyes that had seen too much, colored by fatigue and regret. "I had no choice," he said, voice rough but steady. "The syndicate, I was in too deep. Betrayal wasn't the plan, but survival was the only option." A bitter laugh escaped me. "Survival? You sold us out. You sold me out." Echo met my gaze without flinching, despite the weight of my words. "Not everything was what it seemed. I was trapped, and I've been paying for it ever since. I've been working to undermine them from the inside." The room seemed to shrink as the tension thickened, a suffocating presence hanging between us like the neon shadows that painted fractured patterns across the cracked walls. Memories of past deceptions flickered unbidden, data breaches that had almost cost me everything, the sting of broken trust. "Why should I believe you now?" I asked, voice barely above a whisper. Before he could answer, a sudden alarm blared through the room, a shrill digital scream that ripped through the stillness. Echo's eyes snapped to the interface, fingers flying across the holographic keys with practiced urgency. "They found us," he muttered. "The Syndicate's security bots are closing in. We need to move now." Adrenaline surged through me as I joined him, hacking into the building's security protocols, jamming feeds, and erasing our digital footprints. The neon outside blurred past the cracked window as we prepared to slip back into the city's underbelly. "You're risking everything," I said between breaths, heart pounding in sync with the pulsing lights. "Because this is bigger than either of us," Echo replied. "If we don't stop them, no one's memories will be safe, not even yours." In that moment, amid the chaos and flickering neon, something shifted between us. The brittle walls of mistrust cracked, and a fragile thread of understanding wove itself into the fabric of our alliance. But beneath the surface, I knew the shadows of betrayal lingered, threatening to unravel us at any misstep. As we disappeared into the neon-lit maze, I couldn't shake the question gnawing at me. Could I truly trust Echo, or was I merely chasing ghosts in the data stream? The city's pulse beat around us, electric and relentless, as my search for truth twisted deeper into the labyrinth of stolen memories and fractured identities. The stakes had never been higher, and the line between ally and enemy blurred with every flicker of the neon shadows. I tightened my grip on the data shard in my hand, the fragmented memories of my brother, scattered like shards of glass in the dark. With Echo by my side, betrayal and loyalty danced a dangerous dance, and the next move could change everything. The hunt was far from over. The neon haze of the city outside, the safe house, was nothing compared to the electric tension inside. Screens flickered with streams of data, their soft blue light casting sharp shadows across Rin's angular face. Echo sat beside her, fingers poised above a sleek hollow keyboard, neon-dyed hair catching the light in random flashes as if mirroring the chaotic code before them. "Firewalls holding steady," Echo muttered, eyes scanning the cascading lines of code. "But we're close, just a few more layers." Rin's jaw tightened. Every moment spent here was riskier than the last. Corporate security forces were no joke, especially when guarding secrets like these. She flexed her cybernetic fingers, feeling the familiar hum of her implants syncing with the data streams. "Ready when you are." The plan had been simple on paper, but deadly in execution. Infiltrate Dr. Kale, Voss's high-security server, extract the encrypted files detailing his memory commodification project, and get out before alarms could trigger a lockdown. The stakes were beyond personal. This was a strike against the heart of the memory trade. Echo's fingers danced over the holokeys, bypassing layers of security with practiced ease. "Bypass protocol activated," she whispered. "We're in the outer shell." Suddenly, a cascade of red warnings flooded the interface. "Intrusion detected," a synthetic voice echoed, cold and unyielding. "Shit," Rin breathed. "Countermeasures? Yeah, and they're nasty. Brace yourself." An alarm blared through their comms as digital traps sprung. Echo's visor glowed brighter, scanning for vulnerabilities. "Hold on." Rin's implants flared, syncing with her neural interface to speed up her reactions. She navigated the code labyrinth, her mind a razor cutting through the digital thicket. The room felt smaller now, the pressure mounting as security protocols converged around them. "Almost there," Echo said, sweat beading at her temple. "Decrypting now." For a breathless moment, the data stream stabilized, revealing encrypted files labeled with the cold precision of corporate control. "Project Mnemosyne, Consciousness Commodification Phase II, Subject Data Archives." Rin's heart pounded. This was it, the proof they needed. "Got it," Echo said, initiating the download. "We need to move." Just then, the safe house's door hissed open remotely. Corporate security drones were inbound, their sensors sweeping the perimeter. "Extraction Plan B," Rin ordered, grabbing a portable data drive. "We split meat at the fallback point." They bolted, the city's neon-lit alleyways swallowing them into its chaotic embrace. The stolen data was more than a trophy. It was a weapon that could unravel the sinister web Dr. Voss had woven. Later, back in the dim confines of their hideout, Rin and Echo pored over the files. The scope of the operation was staggering. plans to mass-produce memory commodities, erase individual pain by commodifying consciousness itself, and a chilling vision of humanity's evolution dictated by corporate greed. Rin's voice was barely a whisper. "This changes everything." Echo nodded, the usual cynicism replaced by a rare glimmer of hope. "We just made the fight personal, but beneath the hope lay the heavy truth. Their discovery would not go unchallenged. Dr. Voss would retaliate, and the fragile threads holding their identities together were about to be tested like never before." As the neon shadows flickered outside their window, Rin felt the weight of the coming storm. The data heist was only the beginning. The warehouse loomed ahead like a beast-breathing neon fire. I felt the familiar tingle of my cybernetic eye adjusting to the dimness, neon strips pulsating erratically along the high, graffiti-stained walls. The air was thick with the metallic scent of circuitry and the low hum of neural rigs syncing with the crowd's collective consciousness. I slipped inside, blending into the throng of masked bidders, their faces obscured but their eyes glowing faintly beneath virtual reality visors. This was the memory auction, a grotesque carnival where stolen fragments of lives were sold like cheap souvenirs. My brother's memories were here, somewhere among the shimmering digital packages displayed like trophies. The thought tightened my chest, but I pushed it down. Focus. Tess sat atop the raised platform, a queen reigning over this twisted court. Her sleek black attire caught the neon light, digital tattoos flickering along her arms like living circuits. Her eyes, cold and calculating, scanned the room constantly, absorbing every whispered bet, every flicker of hesitation. When she spoke, her voice was modulated to a near-hypnotic smoothness, slicing through the murmurs with precise clarity. "Next up," Tess announced, her tone both commanding and taunting, "a rare set from the infamous Rin's missing brother, memories so vivid, they'll make your skin crawl and your heart ache. Bid wisely." A ripple went through the crowd. I fixed my gaze on the holographic package floating before her, the label unmistakable. My breath hitched as images of my brother flickered in the projection. Moments of laughter, fleeting glances, the ghost of a smile. Someone out there was profiting from his past, his very being. I moved carefully, weaving between the bidders, my cybernetic eye discreetly scanning for gaps in the auction's security net. The drones overhead hummed low, their sensors sweeping the crowd for anomalies. The scent of sweat and adrenaline mingled, amplifying the electric tension in the air. Near the auction's periphery, I found a dark alcove with a data port. Plugging in, I initiated a covert extraction, fingers flying over the interface as encrypted streams poured into my rig. Every second felt like a lifetime. Then, the shrill blare of an alarm shattered the facade of control. Tess's gaze snapped toward me, her smile morphing into a snarl. "Intruder," she hissed, voice laced with venom. Security drones swarmed, their lights slicing through the smoky haze. I bolted, heart pounding as neon flashes stuttered overhead. The crowd parted like a tide, their VR visors reflecting panic and confusion. Behind me, Tess's voice echoed, a dark promise laced with fury. "You think you can steal from me and walk away?" The alleyways welcomed me back into their chaotic embrace, neon signs flickering erratically as I darted through the labyrinthine streets. I clutched the partial memory fragments I'd managed to grab, incomplete, but enough to keep the hunt alive. Breath ragged, muscles burning, I paused beneath a flickering sign. The city's neon shadows seemed less like sanctuary now, more like the jaws of a beast waiting to snap shut. But I wouldn't stop. Not yet. Not until I'd reclaimed every shard of him, and maybe, just maybe, reclaimed a part of myself in the process. The auction was a trap, but it had also shown me the depth of the syndicate's reach and the price of defiance. Tess was no mere auctioneer. She was a gatekeeper to a world I was only beginning to understand, and crossing her meant the fight had truly begun. I wiped a bead of sweat from my brow, the neon glow painting my features in shifting hues of electric blue and pink. Somewhere in the data streams, my brother's ghost called to me, and I was coming for him, no matter what it cost. But as the city thrummed around me, I couldn't shake the question burning in my mind. How many more memories like his were lost forever in this neon nightmare? And how far was I willing to go to save them? The game had changed. And so had I. I vanished into the neon-lit maze, the ghost of a promise trailing behind me, a promise to fight, to remember, and to reclaim what the shadows had stolen. The auction block was just the beginning. The clinic was a sanctuary carved out of the city's neon chaos, a muted refuge where the hum of the neural interfaces was the only sound that dared to break the silence. Myra's workspace was a blend of cold technology and human warmth. Translucent screens pulsed softly, casting ghostly light across shelves lined with neural repair tools and memory reconstruction devices. Rin sat stiffly on the edge of a worn leather chair, her eyes fixed on the cascade of images flickering before her on the translucent display. Faces, places, emotions, some vivid, others mere shards of color and shadow, played out in broken sequences, like a shattered mirror trying to piece itself back together. Myra's hands moved with practiced precision, fingers dancing across controls that adjusted the scanning frequencies, coaxing clarity from the corrupted data. "These fragments," Myra said quietly, "they've been tampered with. Portions of the memories have been erased or overwritten. It's not just degradation, someone deliberately damaged them." Rin's breath hitched, the weight of those words sinking deep. She had hoped, desperately hoped, that what she'd found was salvageable, that the memories would reveal her brother's story intact. But the evidence was clear. Some parts of him were gone, stolen, or destroyed in the cruel commerce of the memory black market. "How much is lost?" Rin asked, voice tight with a mix of fear and determination. Myra's gaze was steady, compassionate, yet unflinching. "Too much to recover fully, but some fragments remain stable. We can work with those." Rin leaned forward, the neon glow from the city slipping through the frosted window, casting shifting patterns across her cybernetic enhancements. Each corrupted fragment was a wound, not just in data, but in the very essence of her brother's identity. The memories were more than just files. They were the echoes of a life, the sum of experiences that made him who he was. "Can they be restored?" she pressed. "Partially," Myra answered. "But restoring memories isn't like repairing a broken circuit. It's delicate. Sometimes, trying to fix one part can cause damage elsewhere. We must be cautious." The room seemed to close in around Rin as she grappled with the implications. If the memories were irreparably fractured, what did that mean for the brother she sought? Was she chasing a ghost, a digital shadow of someone who no longer existed? Myra's voice broke through the swirl of doubt. "You have to remember, Rin, identity isn't just memories. It's feeling, connection, the choices you make now." The phrase echoed in Rin's mind as she stared at the flickering images. Then suddenly, a sharp, clear moment broke through, the unmistakable sound of her brother's laugh, bright and untamed, ringing out from the fragmented stream. Her heart clenched, a fierce surge of hope igniting within her. She reached out, fingers trembling, and touched the fragment. It was real, it was him. "We'll keep fighting," she said, voice steadying with resolve. "For every piece that's lost, there's something worth saving." Myra nodded, a faint smile of solidarity. "And you won't be alone." The night outside deepened, neon lights casting long, flickering shadows across the cityscape. Inside the clinic, amidst the hum of machines and the fragile dance of memory fragments, Rin felt the first stirrings of a renewed purpose. The road ahead was uncertain, strewn with loss and peril, but she would walk it, one fractured memory at a time, until she reclaimed what was left of her brother's soul. But as the digital ghosts whispered in the neon shadows, a chilling truth lingered. Not all memories could be saved, and some secrets were buried too deep for even the brightest hacker to uncover. And yet, in that fragile hope, Rin found the strength to move forward, to fight for the fractured past and the uncertain future. The next step was clear: delve deeper into the Syndicate's secrets, confront the architects of this destruction, and protect the memories that remained. The city's neon veins pulsed with danger and possibility, and Rin was ready to navigate them once more. Because some ghosts refused to fade quietly into the data stream, the hunt was far from over. The elevator's descent was slow, deliberate, a cage in glass and steel that reflected the neon veins of the city stretching endlessly beneath us. I stood rigid, the hum of the cybernetic implants in my neck syncing with the pulsing lights outside, a reminder that every second here was a gamble. This was the heart of the Syndicate's empire, a tower that scraped the clouds, hiding secrets behind walls of corporate glass and digital fortresses. Sable was waiting. In the boardroom, the air was cold, sterile, touched only by the faint glow of data streams projected onto the walls. Streams I recognized as the city's memory traffic, pulsing like a living thing. She sat poised, a shadow in sharp lines, her black jacket absorbing the neon light rather than reflecting it. Her eyes, as sharp as a blade, met mine without flicker. No warmth, no hesitation. "Rin," she said, voice smooth as liquid metal, yet carrying an undercurrent I could feel in my bones. "You tread dangerous ground." I didn't flinch. "I'm not here to negotiate my safety. I want information." Her lips curved into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Information is a commodity, just like memories, but it's not freely given to those who seek to unravel the order we maintain." The words hung heavy, but I pressed forward, aware that every second here risked exposure. "Then tell me, how deep does the Syndicate's control run? How many lives are traded like data packets beneath this city?" Sable's gaze sharpened. "More than you can imagine. The Syndicate isn't just a group of thieves. We are the architects of the new consciousness economy. Memories aren't just sold, they are controlled, curated, and when necessary, erased." I felt the weight of her words, a cold realization that this fight wasn't just about my brother anymore. It was about all the people whose identities were stolen, repackaged, and weaponized. "And Dr. Voss?" I asked, keeping my voice low but steady. "What role does he play?" "He is the visionary behind the operation," Sable replied, her voice almost reverent. "A man who believes that pain is an obsolete concept, that by manipulating memories, we can evolve beyond suffering." I swallowed hard, the irony bitter in my mouth. A man who would erase the very essence of what makes us human. Sable leaned forward, her fingers steepled. "You should consider your next moves carefully, Rin. The Syndicate is watching. Every hack you attempt, every alliance you form, is being monitored." The cold glow of the neon skyline outside was a stark contrast to the warmth of the city below, a city alive with secrets and lies. I wanted to tell her that I wasn't afraid, that I had already stepped too far into the shadows to turn back now. But instead, I simply said, "If you think a threat will stop me, you don't know who I am." A flicker passed over Sable's face, doubt, or perhaps something else, but she masked it quickly with a practiced smile. "We shall see." The meeting ended as abruptly as it began. Security escorted me back to the elevator, and as the doors slid shut, the buzzing neon outside seemed to pulse with new meaning. I was a small player in a massive game of control and deception, but I had learned something vital. The Syndicate was not invincible, and Sable, with all her cold calculation, might just have a crack in her armor. Back in the streets, the neon glow felt different, sharper, more dangerous. I had to move faster, be smarter. The shadows weren't just hiding enemies anymore. They were revealing the truth. I slipped my cyberdeck from its hiding place, fingers itching to dive back into the data streams. This was far from over. It was only the beginning. The city waited, and so did I. The neural interface thrummed softly against my temple, its hum a steady pulse amid the chaotic storm in my mind. I sat motionless in the dim confines of Myra's makeshift clinic, the air thick, with the mingled scents of antiseptic and rain-dampened concrete seeping through a cracked window. Neon light bled in from the streets, casting fractured shards of electric blue and crimson across the cluttered surfaces, painting the room in the city's perpetual glow. As the interface synchronized with my cybernetic enhancements, fragments of my brother's memories began to surface, shards of a life stolen, splintered into incomplete mosaics. Laughter echoed faintly, a ghostly echo from a time when his smile was unburdened by fear. Then, abruptly, the sound twisted into a frantic gasp, a rush of panic before the images shattered into static, like data corrupted beyond repair. I clenched my jaw, the visceral ache of loss digging deeper than any physical wound. "He's still in there," I whispered, though the flickering visions suggested otherwise. How much of him remained when his consciousness was dissected and sold in fragments? What was left when the memories that shaped a person were stolen and fractured? My own identity felt precarious, tethered to memories I could barely grasp, much less claim. Myra's voice broke through the haze, calm and steady. "These fragments are corrupted, Rin, but they're real. Each piece is a thread connecting you to him. We can piece together his story, but some parts may be lost forever." Her hand, warm and reassuring, settled on my shoulder. It was a small anchor in the swirling darkness, a reminder that I wasn't alone in this fight. She had seen the cost of memory theft firsthand, victims shattered, identities erased. Her compassion was a beacon in the neon shadows. I took a deep breath, focusing on the holographic display hovering between us. Jagged data streams and erratic pulses mapped the contours of stolen consciousness, some vibrant, others dim and fractured. Each fragment was a puzzle piece, but some edges were missing, the picture forever incomplete. "Why do we hold on to memories?" I asked, voice barely above a whisper. "If they can be stolen, altered, erased, what does it mean to be me?" "To be him," Myra's gaze softened, her eyes reflecting the flickering light. "Memories are more than data. They're emotion, experience, connection. Even fragmented, they carry the essence. But identity is also resilience, how we adapt, how we choose to remember and forget." The weight of her words settled over me as I disconnected from the interface. The room seemed darker without the neon glow of the holograms, the silence pressing in with its own intensity. I rose unsteadily, the ache in my chest a constant reminder that this journey was far from over. Outside, the city pulsed with relentless life, the neon veins throbbing through rain-slicked streets, the distant hum of hovercars, the faint murmur of voices lost in alleys. I walked alone, each step echoing in the void between what was and what could never be reclaimed. Memories flickered unbidden, moments shared with my brother before the disappearance. His laughter beneath the flickering streetlights, the sharp edge of fear in his eyes as he whispered warnings I had ignored. Then the fragments faded, dissolving into the electric haze, leaving me grasping at shadows. I understood now that reclaiming stolen memories was not merely about restoration, but reconciliation. Accepting the fractures, the losses, and the spaces where darkness had seeped in. My brother was no longer whole, but the fragments I held were enough to anchor me to a truth more profound than any data stream. Night deepened, the city's neon heartbeats slowing as dawn threatened the horizon. I paused beneath a flickering sign, its glow casting long shadows that stretched like ghosts across the pavement. The crossroads of identity stretched before me, between the past that was shattered and the future I had yet to forge. I was no longer just a hunter chasing ghosts in the data stream. I was becoming something new, a convergence of memory, loss, and hope. The fight to reclaim what was lost was also a fight to define who I was, beyond the fragments and the neon shadows. And as the first light pierced the darkness, I knew the path ahead would demand everything I had and more. But I was ready, because some ghosts were worth chasing, no matter the cost. The story was far from over. The rain came down in sheets, a relentless cascade that turned the city's neon veins into a blur of light and color. I had warned Echo to stay sharp, but when the ambush hit, it was like the shadows themselves conspired against us. He was cornered in that narrow alley, the slick pavement reflecting the flashing blue and red of corporate security drones as they closed in with ruthless efficiency. "Rin," Echo's voice cut through the storm, sharp and frantic. His neon-dyed hair plastered against his forehead, he fought with the desperation of a cornered animal, but there were too many of them. Heavy boots thundered, augmentations glinting like predatory eyes in the dim light. I wanted to dive in, to shred their ranks with a barrage of code and chaos, but the firewall around their digital shields was tighter than anything I'd faced before. I was forced to watch, powerless, as they dragged him away. The city's hum felt colder now, more oppressive. Echo wasn't just an ally anymore, he was a lifeline, And without him, the underworld's labyrinth became a dead end. I wouldn't lose him. Planning the rescue was a balancing act of precision and recklessness. I slipped into the shadows, my cybernetic eyes adjusting to the sterile glare of the detention center. The fluorescent lights above buzzed with a clinical indifference, a stark contrast to the chaotic neon blaze outside. Each step I took was a calculated risk. One wrong move, and everything would collapse. My fingers danced over the hollow interface projected from my wrist, slicing through layers of digital defenses that guarded Echo's prison like an iron fortress. Every firewall breached sent a jolt through my nerves, a reminder of how close I was to losing him forever. Inside, the air was thick with the sterile scent of disinfectant and dread. Echo's cell was a claustrophobic cage, bathed in flickering neon that cast long, wavering shadows across his tense form. His eyes, usually sharp with wit, were clouded with exhaustion and something darker: fear, betrayal. "You left me," he whispered, voice hoarse but burning with accusation. "I didn't," I said, stepping closer, the weight of my own guilt heavy in my chest. "I'm here now. We get out together." The fragile bridge between us trembled under words unspoken, wounds unhealed. The neon light flickered again, tracing the outlines of our battered trust. Freedom wasn't just a matter of breaking locks. It was a fight against the ghosts inside us, the memories we clung to and the betrayals that cut deepest. We navigated the maze of maintenance tunnels beneath the city, the hum of neon cables overhead whispering promises of escape. The distant wail of alarms was a reminder that time was a luxury we didn't have. Every footstep echoed like a heartbeat, faster and louder, as we dodged patrols and hacked security grids. The city's underbelly was a living beast, pulsating with danger and possibility. When we finally burst into the rain-soaked streets, lungs burning and hearts pounding, I realized the fight wasn't just for Echo's freedom. It was for the fragile thread of connection we'd forged in the neon shadows. In this fractured world, trust was the rarest commodity, and I was learning to risk it all. But as the city's glow swallowed us once more, I knew this was just the beginning. The edge of betrayal was sharp, and our journey had only just crossed it. We were bound now, not just by shared enemies, but by the desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, we could reclaim what was stolen together. The night stretched ahead, endless and uncertain. But for the first time in a long time, I felt something other than cold determination, a flicker of something like hope. The cold metal chair bit into my back, the neon blue restraints humming softly as they locked around my wrists and ankles. The sterile white interrogation room was a cruel parody of the neon-lit streets I'd roamed for so long, a place devoid of color, sound reduced to the low, incessant whir of machinery. My heart hammered against my ribs, not from fear, but from raw, unyielding determination. They thought they could break me, strip me of the fragments I carried, but I was more than a data cache. I was a ghost in their machine, a shadow in their neon-lit city. The door slid open with a hiss, revealing a squad of corporate security operatives. They moved with mechanical precision, their black visors reflecting nothing but the harsh light overhead. One of them approached, carrying a neural probe, sleek, invasive, designed to breach the mind's defenses with minimal physical harm but maximum psychological impact. They strapped the device to my temple, cold sensors pressing against my skin, and I felt the first tendrils of their intrusion, probing, searching. Inside my mind, the world shifted. Neon circuits and fragmented data streams flickered like a broken hologram. The memories I fought to protect were scattered shards in a digital storm, vulnerable to their relentless hacking attempts. I pushed back, summoning every ounce of my skill, weaving intricate firewalls and encryption layers to shield the stolen consciousness enfolded within me. Each wave of attack was met with a calculated defense, a dance of light and shadow, code and will. A crackle of static, and the cold visage of Dr. Kale Voss appeared on the flickering video feed embedded in the wall. His pale features were sharp as the edges of broken glass, his augmented ocular implants glowing faintly blue, casting spectral light across his face. He spoke in that clinical tone, void of empathy but heavy with conviction. "You resist, Rin," he said, voice smooth and chilling. "But resistance is futile. The evolution of humanity depends on what we do, erasing pain, commodifying experience. Memories are no longer sacred. They are currency, tools for progress." I met his gaze in the flickering feed, my voice steady despite the pain. "Progress built on stolen lives is no progress at all." Hours passed like this, a relentless assault on body and mind. The neural probes burrowed deeper, trying to extract the precious fragments of my brother's memories, to corrupt or erase them. But I held fast, drawing on reserves of resilience I didn't know I possessed. When fatigue clawed at my consciousness, I found a spark, an opening in their system, a flaw in their security protocols. With a surge of defiant energy, digital tendrils burst from my neural implants, weaving through the interrogation system like wildfire. The cold, sterile room was suddenly filled with the electric crackle of counter-hacking maneuvers. Screens flickered, restraints loosened, and alarms screamed through the facility. The operatives scrambled, their mechanical precision faltering as I seized the moment. Pain lanced through my limbs as the restraints released, but I was free, escaped the digital prison they'd crafted for me. The battle had left scars, both physical and mental, but the memories, the fragments of my brother's consciousness, remained intact. As I stumbled into the neon shadows beyond, gasping for breath, a fierce resolve burned within me. This was far from over. The memory trade's heart beat cold and ruthless, embodied in men like Voss, but I was a ghost in their machine, a neon shadow fighting to reclaim identity and humanity, and I would not be silenced. The city's hum welcomed me back, the electric pulse of neon veins, the murmur of data streams flowing beneath cracked concrete. I was battered but unbroken, a flicker of defiance in the endless night. The digital prison had tested me, but it had not claimed me, not yet. And somewhere in the depths of the black market, my brother's memories waited, fragile and flickering. I would find them. I had to. The fight was only beginning. I lay in the stark white room, wrists throbbing where the restraints had gripped, mind still racing from the relentless probing. The faint afterglow of neon circuits behind my eyelids was a cruel reminder of how close I'd come to losing everything. But even as exhaustion threatened to drag me under, a fierce light burned in my chest, the unyielding hope that kept me tethered to reality. The city outside pulsed with life, indifferent to the battles fought in its underbelly. But I was no longer just a shadow. I was a force, a hacker, a sister, a ghost in the data stream refusing to fade away, and the neon shadows still held secrets waiting to be uncovered. The cold air of the safe house basement bit into my skin, despite the warmth of the neon-lit city just beyond the cracked window. My fingers hovered over the holographic interface, the faint blue glow reflecting off my cybernetic enhancements as I decrypted the layers of hidden data. Every line of code was a pulse in the sprawling organism that was Dr. Kale Voss's operation, a beast far larger and more insidious than I'd imagined. Echo's voice broke the silence, sharp and sarcastic as always, but laced with an edge of disbelief. "You're looking at the blueprint for something far beyond memory auctions, Rin. This is a blueprint for mass consciousness commodification." I glanced up, catching the gleam of neon-dyed hair under the flickering overhead light. The hum of our encrypted connection filled the room, a stark contrast to the pounding in my chest. "Mass consciousness commodification," I repeated, tasting the phrase like bitter metal. They want to turn every human experience, every thought and feeling into a product. Memories not just stolen, but replicated, packaged, sold on a scale that could consume the entire city, the entire world. Echo's fingers danced over the floating console, pulling up encrypted files, schematics, and chilling projections. Voss isn't just trafficking memories anymore. He's engineering a market where consciousness itself is a commodity. People become data points, identities fragmented and sold to the highest bidder. The room felt smaller, the weight of the revelation pressing down on me. I thought of my brother, the shards of his memories I'd fought so hard to reclaim, fragments forever altered or lost to the syndicate's greed. And now, The very essence of human identity was under threat of becoming a corporate asset, stripped of its sacredness and sold like a product on a shelf. Myra's gentle presence was a balm amid the chaos. She sat close, her soft features illuminated by the pale glow of the data streams. "Destroying the trade might save countless future victims," she whispered, her voice trembling with the magnitude of our dilemma. "But what about the memories already stolen? The people trapped in those fractured identities? They deserve to be saved." Her words struck a chord deep within me. The ethical quagmire was suffocating. To expose and dismantle the network risked erasing the last remnants of those stolen souls, yet to do nothing would let Voss's cold mechanization continue unchecked. I paced the room, neon shadows flickering across the cracked concrete walls. The city beyond pulsed with the ceaseless flow of data and light, a symphony of disconnected lives and stolen moments. Somewhere out there, my brother's consciousness waited, scattered and incomplete. "There has to be another way," I muttered, voice thick with resolve. "A way to bring down Voss without erasing what's left. To protect the memories and the people behind them." Echo smirked, though the usual cynicism was tempered by a rare flicker of hope. "You always were stubborn." We began to formulate a plan, a digital strike that would expose the syndicate's darkest secrets to the public, while safeguarding the cache of stolen memories we'd gathered. It was a dangerous gambit, one that could cost us everything. As dawn crept over the horizon, painting the neon skyline in hues of violet and gold, I stood on the rooftop, the city's hum a constant companion. The flickering lights below were no longer just colors on glass. They were the pulse of a fractured world, a reminder of the fragile boundary between self and stolen identity. The path ahead was uncertain, riddled with peril and moral complexity. But for the first time since my brother vanished, I felt a flicker of clarity, a haunting resolve to fight not just for him, but for the countless ghosts lost in the data streams. The web was vast, tangled in lies and shadows, but I would unravel it no matter the cost. And in the neon glow of this fractured city, I would find the truth. The final auction, the auction hall, was a cathedral of neon and shadow, its cavernous space pulsing with the synthetic heartbeat of stolen memories. Holographic displays floated like restless ghosts above the crowd, flickering images of lives not lived, moments not owned, all packaged and sold to the highest bidder. Rin's breath caught in her throat as she slipped through the throng, her cybernetic enhancements humming softly beneath her skin, amplifying every sound, every flicker of light. The air was thick, with the scent of ionized metal and cheap synthetic sweat, a cocktail of desperation and greed that clung to the patrons like a second skin. Faces obscured by digital masks and shifting visors watched the auctioneer with rapt attention, hands twitching near concealed weapons or data scramblers. To them, memories were currency, experience a commodity to be bartered and consumed. Rin's eyes scanned the room, searching for the familiar signature she had traced through countless data streams. The fragmented echoes of her brother's consciousness haunted the auction's offerings, disjointed, commodified, distilled into bite-sized entertainment for the city's elite. Somewhere in this neon-lit maze lay the last pieces of him, and she was determined to reclaim them. Ahead, the auctioneer took center stage. Tess, her name whispered like a curse in the underground circuits, stood poised like a predator beneath the harsh glow of spotlights. Her sharp features cut through the haze, framed by sleek black attire threaded with neon accents that matched the city's relentless glow. Her eyes, cold and calculating, scanned the crowd, settling occasionally on hopeful bidders or those foolish enough to challenge the syndicate's dominion. Rin adjusted the digital visor over her eyes, masking her identity and weaving through the crowd with practiced ease. Echo's voice crackled softly in her ear, a lifeline in the swirling chaos. "Security grid is patchy, but I'm working on it. You've got maybe 5 minutes before the enforcers start running full sweeps." She nodded, though Echo couldn't see. Time was a luxury she didn't have. The auction began in earnest, Tess's voice slicing through the murmur like a scalpel. Memories flickered on the holographic displays, first kisses, forgotten holidays, moments of triumph and despair, each one a fragment of someone's soul laid bare for sale. Rin's stomach churned as she recognized the hauntingly familiar patterns within the data streams. There, her brother's laughter, a fleeting glance from a long-lost childhood, a whispered secret now corrupted by digital decay. With measured steps, Rin approached the auction block, her heart drumming a rapid beat against the synthetic hum of the room. Tess's gaze locked onto her, sharp and unyielding. "Well, well," the auctioneer said, voice silky but edged with steel. "A new player in the game. Care to bid on something special?" "I'm here for a different kind of trade," Rin replied, voice steady despite the surge of adrenaline coursing through her veins. "To reclaim what was stolen." Tess smiled, a slow, dangerous curl of the lips. "Many come with that sentiment, few leave with anything but regret." The room seemed to tighten around them, the crowd sensing the high-stakes confrontation unfolding. Syndicate enforcers, their armor gleaming with red-lit visors, flanked the auction block, their presence a looming threat. Rin's hand hovered near her concealed cyberdeck, ready to unleash a digital storm. Echo's voice returned, urgent and clipped. "I'm in, disabling security protocols now. You've got a small window." Suddenly, the holographic displays flickered violently, the auctioneer's voice faltering as digital defenses shattered. Lights strobing wildly cast the room into a dizzying kaleidoscope of neon chaos. Enforcers shouted orders, weapons drawn, but the sudden breach sowed confusion. Rin seized the moment, hacking into the storage vault where her brother's last memory fragments were held. The data was heavily encrypted, a fortress of code layered with malicious corruption designed to erase and distort. Fingers flying across virtual keys, she fought to salvage what she could, every second stretching into an eternity. "Got it," she whispered, a tremor of triumph threading through exhaustion. Clutching the decrypted shard, she felt the fragile pulse of her brother's consciousness flicker within the digital fragment, broken, incomplete, but undeniably real. The auction spiraled into chaos as syndicate forces scrambled to regain control. Alarms blared, the cacophony of shouts and gunfire mingling with the electronic roar of failing systems. Neon shadows danced violently across walls and faces, a surreal battleground of light and darkness. Rin darted through the tumult, Echo providing cover and guidance. Every step was a gamble, every breath a stolen moment against the suffocating grip of the syndicate. The weight of what she carried was both a burden and a beacon, her brother's memories, a tether to the past and a beacon for the future. As she burst through the exit into the rain-slicked alley, the city's neon glow washed over her like a baptism. The shards of stolen consciousness pulsed faintly in her grip, a bittersweet victory carved from the heart of darkness. She was closer than ever, but the path ahead was shrouded in uncertainty. In the distance, the auction house blazed with alarms and sirens, a beacon of corruption brought to its knees. But for Rin, the battle was just beginning. Somewhere within the fractured data streams lay the truth, not just about her brother, but about the fragile, flickering essence of identity itself. She turned away from the chaos, neon shadows trailing her steps like ghosts. The fight to reclaim what was lost, to preserve the sacredness of memory in a fractured world, had only just begun, and Rin was ready to face whatever came next. The sterile chamber was alive with the quiet hum of servers, a mechanical heartbeat beneath the flickering neon blue light that danced across cold metal walls. Rin's footsteps echoed softly, each step measured, her lean frame shadowed beneath the glow of her cybernetic enhancements. The air smelled faintly of ozone and recycled cold, sterile yet charged, as if the room itself anticipated the confrontation. Ahead, seated behind a transparent console that shimmered like liquid glass, was Dr. Kale Voss, pale and sharp-featured, his augmented ocular implants glowing faintly blue, scanning Rin with a clinical detachment that sent a chill crawling down her spine. "So you've come," Kale's voice was low, measured, echoing slightly off the steel. "I wondered how long it would take before you traced the seams of my operation." Rin's jaw tightened, the weight of years pressing behind her eyes. "You stole him," she said simply, voice steady despite the turmoil beneath. "My brother," His memories, his life, reduced to data fragments sold to the highest bidder. Kale's lips curled into something resembling a smile, cold and devoid of warmth. "Stole no, Rin, I liberated him. We liberate all of humanity. Memories are chains that bind us to pain, trauma, and chaos. My work offers evolution, freedom from the burden of self." "Erasing pain doesn't make us better," Rin shot back, her voice rising with the heat of conviction. "It makes us less human." He gestured elegantly, and the room shifted. Holographic cascades of neon data streamed around them, a digital aurora illuminating the space between them. Streams of raw memory fragments, encrypted codes, and neural maps swirled as if alive. "Witness the future," Kale intoned, fingers dancing across invisible controls. "A world free from suffering, where memory is curated, optimized. We sell not just recollection, but relief." Rin stepped forward, eyes scanning the data streams until she found it, a cluster of fragmented memories signed with her brother's unique neural signature. The images flickered moments of laughter, a fleeting smile, a whisper of fear, disassembled and commodified, stripped of context and soul. "This isn't evolution," she whispered, voice breaking. "It's erasure." Kale's face remained emotionless, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of something, perhaps regret, or a scientist's cold rationalization. "Pain is a virus. We are the cure." The digital battlefield ignited as Rin launched her counterattack. Streams of hacking code surged like electric serpents, weaving through firewalls and encryption layers, her cybernetic implants glowing in tandem. Kale's defenses were formidable, a fortress built on years of manipulation and corporate backing, but Rin's resolve was fiercer. Each line of code, a strike against the mechanized heart of his empire. Data cascaded around them in blinding neon torrents, the hum of the servers rising to a roar as their duel escalated. Bits of stolen consciousness flickered like ghosts in the machine, lost identities struggling to surface amidst the torrent of manipulation. Rin's breath came fast, adrenaline sharpening her senses as she navigated the labyrinth of Voss's constructs. "You can't save them all," Kale's voice echoed coldly through the chaos, a haunting reminder of the stakes. "Some memories are better left forgotten." Her hands trembled as she isolated the final fragments of her brother's consciousness, fragments battered and incomplete, yet unmistakably his. "I don't care," she said, voice fierce despite the exhaustion. "He's more than data to me." The room stilled as the last firewall shattered, and Kale's defenses collapsed like a brittle facade. Yet even in defeat, he remained unbowed, eyes glowing with an eerie resolve. "You may have won this battle, Rin, but the war for consciousness has only begun." Rin stood amidst the wreckage of broken code and fragmented memories, the weight of loss pressing heavy. Some parts of her brother's identity were gone forever, absorbed into the neon shadows of the city's data streams. But she had reclaimed enough to remember, to fight, to be. As she powered down her implants and stepped back into the flickering neon streets, the city hummed with a cold promise that in this world of stolen memories and fractured identities, the fight for self was never truly over. And Rin was ready. The sterile hum of the neural repair machines filled the cramped room, their rhythmic pulse a stark contrast to the chaotic storm of emotions swirling inside me. Myra's clinic was a sanctuary of sorts, nestled in the heart of the city's underbelly, its pale fluorescent lights fighting against the neon glow that bled through rain-streaked windows. I sat rigid, eyes locked on the hollow display suspended in front of me, where shards of my brother's memories flickered in a fractured dance. Some fragments shimmered with startling clarity, the warmth of a childhood laugh, the sharp tang of rain on concrete, the electric buzz of late-night street races. Others were corrupted, their images glitching, looping endlessly or dissolving into static noise. It was as if his essence was caught between worlds, half erased by the cold hands of the syndicate's data thieves. Myra sat beside me, her soft features etched with quiet determination. "We've done all we can," she said gently, voice steady but tinged with sadness. "Some memories, they're just gone. The data's been corrupted beyond recovery or deliberately erased. You have to understand, Rin, that even the best neural repair can't restore what never truly exists anymore. I swallowed hard, the weight of her words settling like a stone in my chest. To lose a person was one thing. To lose their memories, their very essence, was something else entirely. In this world, memories were currency, identity a commodity to be bought and sold. But at what cost? And what remained when those fragments vanished into the digital ether? Echo's voice crackled softly through the comlink, pulling me from my reverie. "You good in there?" His neon visor cast shifting hues on the cracked concrete wall outside, his figure a silhouette against the flickering city lights. "Yeah," I replied, forcing steadiness into my tone. "Just processing." I could hear the faint sound of rain tapping against the window, a rhythmic patter that seemed to echo the fractured cadence of my thoughts. Memories of my brother's laughter surfaced, a genuine, warm sound that had once filled the cramped rooms of our childhood home. But just as quickly, the moment splintered, replaced by an eerie silence punctuated by static and distortion. Echo's presence was a stark reminder of how fragile trust could be in this neon-lit labyrinth. His past betrayal had cut deep, but his loyalty now was undeniable, a tenuous thread linking me back to a semblance of hope. Together with Myra, we formed a fragile triangle of survival and resistance against the relentless tide of memory commodification. I reached out, fingers trembling as I touched the data fragment glowing faintly in my palm. It was a shard of him, small, imperfect, but undeniably real. It was enough to remind me that despite the losses, despite the fractures, some part of him endured. Outside, the city pulsed with life, a kaleidoscope of neon signs, holographic advertisements, and the endless hum of data streams weaving through alleyways and skyscrapers alike. The rain-slick rooftops shimmered under the electric glow, as if the city itself breathed with a restless energy. I climbed to one such rooftop, the cold wind tugging at my neon-lit streetwear and tousling my hair. The sprawling cityscape stretched before me, a sea of light and shadow that mirrored the turmoil inside. Clutching the fragile data shard, I felt the weight of both loss and determination settle deep within me. What did it mean to remember? To be, if memories could be stolen, altered, erased, was identity a fixed point or a shifting mirage? These questions gnawed at the edges of my mind, but I knew one thing for certain. I would fight to preserve whatever fragments remained, not just of my brother, but of all those swallowed by the data streams. The night stretched on, neon shadows flickering like ghosts in a digital haze. And as the rain whispered against the cold concrete, I made my choice, to redefine what it meant to remember, to reclaim what could be salvaged, and to face the uncertain future with whatever pieces of myself I could hold on to. Because in this fractured world, memory was both a weapon and a sanctuary, and I was determined to protect it, no matter the cost. But even as resolve steeled my heart, a quiet question lingered in the back of my mind. What happens when the ghosts in the data stream fade away completely? The answer, like the neon city around me, was both dazzling and dark, waiting to be discovered in the chapters yet to come. The rain had finally ceased, leaving the city slick and shining beneath the neon haze. I stepped off the cracked pavement and into the quiet hum of the underground clinic, its walls pulsing faintly with soft blue light that cut through the darkness like a beacon of fragile hope. Around me, the faces of the forgotten flickered in the dim glow, survivors of a trade that had stolen more than just memories, but pieces of their very selves. Echo was already there, fingers flying over a holographic interface projected from his wrist, his neon-dyed hair catching the faintest glimmer of light. His visor glowed softly, reflecting streams of data flowing like a river of digital life. "Got the decentralized network patched," he said without looking up, voice low but charged with a fierce determination. "We're sending aid packets to every node connected to memory theft victims. It's not much, but it's a start." I nodded, swallowing the weight of the moment. The battle with Dr. Kale Voss and his syndicate might have shattered the memory trafficking ring, but the scars left behind were deeper than any neon-lit wound. There were still bodies to mend and minds to piece together, fragile mosaics of stolen fragments struggling to reclaim wholeness. Myra was already tending to a new arrival, her gentle hands moving with practiced precision across neural interfaces embedded beneath translucent skin. The victim's eyes fluttered open, confusion mingling with pain, but Myra's voice was a steady anchor in the swirling storm. "You're safe here," she whispered. "We're going to help you remember what's yours." The clinic was a sanctuary carved out from the neon shadows, where technology met humanity in a delicate balance. It was where we fought our quiet war, one memory at a time. But even as we worked, I couldn't shake the weight of loss. Some fragments would never be recovered. Some identities were forever altered, their contours blurred beyond recognition. I found myself wandering the city at night, climbing to rooftops where the neon skyline stretched like an endless circuit board, alive with electric veins of light. From that height, the city looked less hostile, less like a labyrinth of theft and deceit. It was a fractured mosaic of souls, each glowing with a stubborn flicker of life. I thought of my brother, the memories we'd salvaged, the ones lost to the void. The fight wasn't just about reclaiming what was stolen, it was about redefining what it meant to remember to be. "We're not done," I told Echo and Myra later, voice steady despite the ache beneath. "This city needs us. Its ghosts need us." Echo smirked beneath his visor. "Then let's give them a reason to keep fighting." Myra's smile was soft but fierce. Together, as the neon lights flickered and the city breathed around us, I felt the first stirrings of something I hadn't known in a long time: hope. It was fragile, yes, and uncertain, but it was real, and in the endless dance of light and shadow, it was enough to keep moving forward. The fight to reclaim identity had only just begun, and in the depths of the neon night, I was ready to face whatever ghosts the data streams still held. This was our new beginning, a city scarred but unbroken, a future waiting to be rewritten in the glow of neon dreams. The past was shattered, but the future was ours to shape, and I would not let it slip away into the shadows. The safe house was a sanctuary carved from the city's relentless neon glow, a place where the hum of data streams and flickering holograms gave way to something softer, something almost human. Myra's hands moved with practiced precision as she adjusted the neural patches on my temple, the cold circuitry fading beneath her gentle touch. The light outside filtered through cracked blinds, casting fractured patterns across the peeling walls, neon shadows dancing like restless ghosts. I sat rigid, my breath shallow, the weight of everything I'd endured pressing on my chest. Memories stolen, identities shattered, the endless chase through data streams and dark alleys, each moment a fragment of who I was and who I feared becoming. Myra's voice was calm, steady, a lifeline in the chaos. "You're holding on, Rin, that's what matters." I wanted to believe her. I needed to, but trust was a currency I'd long ago spent, leaving me bankrupt in a city that thrived on deception. The door slammed open with a burst of energy and neon, Echo's neon-dyed hair catching stray beams of light like a flare in the gloom. His grin was sardonic, the usual mask of cynicism slipping for a heartbeat. "You're not getting rid of me that easily," he quipped, tossing a data shard onto the cluttered table. The tension in the room cracked. I felt a flicker of warmth, a brief easing of the isolation that had become my constant companion. Echo had been a thorn and a shield, a chaotic presence that challenged my walls and tested my resolve. But beneath the bravado, there was loyalty, something I hadn't allowed myself to fully acknowledge until now. Myra smiled faintly, eyes softening. "We're a team, whether you like it or not." The words settled over me like a balm. For the first time in years, I let my guard slip, allowing the fragile threads of connection to weave around the jagged edges of my fractured self. Later, standing on the rooftop, overlooking the city's sprawling neon veins, the rain-slicked streets below shimmered in a kaleidoscope of colors reflected through my cybernetic eyes. The city was a living, breathing entity, beautiful and brutal, relentless in its demand for sacrifice. I traced the outlines of shadowed alleys and glimmering towers, each a reminder of the lives caught in the web of memory theft. My brother's face flickered at the edge of my mind, fragments of laughter and sorrow mingling with the static of lost data. I clenched my fists, the metal in my skin humming with resolve. This was no longer just a quest for recovery. It was a vow to protect those like him, to fight for the sanctity of memory and identity in a world that commodified human experience. The city's pulse matched my own as I turned away from the edge, returning to the sanctuary where Echo and Myra waited. In the cramped neon-lit bar that smelled of burnt circuits and stale synthil, we shared a drink. The cacophony of the city faded into the background, replaced by the tentative warmth of newfound trust. Plans were laid, alliances forged, and despite the scars we bore, there was an undeniable spark, a flicker of hope amidst the neon shadows. I was no longer alone, not completely. And as the night deepened, I realized that reclaiming myself meant embracing the fractures, the losses, and the connections that defined me. The fight was far from over, but for the first time in a long while, I saw a path forward, bright, jagged, and luminously alive. The city watched, its neon heart beating steadily as I stepped into the future with open eyes and a resolute spirit. The ghosts in the data stream were no longer just echoes of loss. They were the sparks of a reclaimed identity, a promise to those forgotten, and a beacon for the battles yet to come. And so, beneath the flickering neon sky, I began to heal. The rain had finally ceased, leaving the city slick and gleaming beneath the neon haze that never truly slept. I stood on the edge of the rooftop, the cool air biting through the thin fabric of my jacket, my cybernetic enhancements humming softly beneath my skin. Below me, the labyrinthine streets of the city pulsed with life, a restless organism of light, shadow, and sound. The flickering signs cast fractured colors on the wet asphalt, reflecting the fractured memories I had fought so hard to reclaim. It was quiet, but not truly silent. Somewhere in the distance, a siren wailed, a reminder of the chaos that never truly ceased. The hum of data streams coursed beneath the concrete, invisible veins carrying the stolen fragments of human experience. I had seen those veins laid bare, traced the pathways where memories were auctioned, stolen, and lost. But tonight, standing here, I felt something shift beneath the neon glow, a promise, a beginning. The safe house was a stark contrast to the sprawling cityscape. Myra's meticulous hands moved with practiced grace, tending to a young woman whose eyes fluttered beneath a neural interface headset. The soft blue light from the hollow screen washed over the room, lending an almost ethereal calm to the clinical space. Myra's voice was gentle but firm, a grounding presence in a world unraveling at the seams. "I've patched what I can," she said quietly, her eyes meeting mine. "Some fragments are still missing, but she's stable." I nodded, the weight of what we'd lost pressing down on me. These were the people caught in the crossfire, the stolen, the broken. Myra's work was a testament to resilience, a beacon of hope amid the darkness. Back in the data den, cluttered with flickering screens and tangled wires, Echo and I sat side by side. His neon-dyed hair caught the dim glow of the monitors, and his digital visor reflected cascading lines of code. We exchanged a glance heavy with unspoken understanding, years of mistrust dissolved by shared purpose. "Still think we can pull this off?" Echo asked, voice low but steady. I smirked despite myself. "We have to, for every stolen memory, for every lost identity." The city outside was unforgiving, but in this cramped room, we forged our resistance. Every line of code we wrote, every encrypted message we sent, was a strike against the forces that sought to commodify our humanity. Later, alone in my quarters, I prepared a secure upload destined for the hidden corners of the data streams. My fingers danced over the holographic keyboard, sending a message encoded with fragments of memories recovered and names of those still lost. It was a call to arms, a beacon for others like me. As the data pulsed into the network, I felt the weight of my journey settle around me. Some parts of my brother would never return, fragmented beyond repair. But the fight was far from over. In this city of neon ghosts and digital shadows, memory was sacred, and I would be its guardian. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, hope flickered in the neon-lit darkness. I stepped back from the console, eyes scanning the glowing horizon. The city was watching, waiting, and I was ready. The shadows may be long and the ghosts many, but I was no longer alone. Together with Echo, Myra, and the countless forgotten souls, we would reclaim the night. For memory was more than data, it was the essence of who we are, and I would fight to protect it, no matter the cost. The neon lights shimmered around me, a kaleidoscope of color and promise. The data streams flowed beneath my feet, alive, fragile, and waiting. In the heart of the city, amidst the ghosts of stolen memories, a new dawn was beginning, and I would be there to meet it.